So the story so far, this is probably going to be quite a long video, but I want to try and get in as much information as I can. Um, so I suppose it goes right back. I didn't realize that this was relevant um, until about a week ago. It goes right back to 2018. I'd just come back from a 3-week tour of Europe, which was amazing. Um, and I started to get a like a burning sensation in my shoulder blade on the right hand side. Sometimes I would get like a numb, cold feeling there as well. And that got worse and worse. That was with movement, mainly when I was working. Um, and then that progressed over very, very slowly over the next few years. Um, and I was getting pain in my spine. Um, sometimes I was coming home from work and I would lie on the floor for a long time in really bad pain. I went to my doctor, my GP, who sent me for an X-ray, and the X-ray didn't show anything, which is no surprise now that I know what this is. Um, because obviously, I was lying flat and we didn't think it could be related to my ribs. I didn't even think of my ribs at that time because everything was in the back. Um, and then I was sent for physiotherapy, and they said that I just needed to strengthen the muscles in my back. So they gave me some exercises to do, which I did for a while. But if anything, that made things worse. Um, I started visiting a chiropractor in 4 years ago in April. So 3.5 years ago. And I found that the adjustments that they did on my spine in particular helped a little bit, but only for maybe a few days at most. I tried an osteopath, I tried acupuncture, I saw a homeopathist, I got something called a Theracane. I got one of those back stretchers. I got massaging tools. Um, I tried everything. I thought it was my muscles. And then I just sort of tried to get on with it. I thought maybe it was part of getting older. I'm only 32. Um, and then it, in the past year, it got worse. I found that the only thing that would relieve it was lying flat on a hard floor. Um, Painkillers don't work. I tried gels, I tried everything. I started getting gastro symptoms in 2019, where it was affecting my eating and my bowels. I was getting diarrhea every day, especially in the morning, um, which we thought was IBS. I'll get onto that later on. And I kept going. And then in July-ish this year, I started getting pain in my mid back, mid to lower back on the right hand side. And I thought it was kidney stones because I've had them before quite a few times. The last time was about 5 years ago and I had lithotripsy to break the stones up. And it really mimicked that pain. So I went to my doctor, who sent me for an ultrasound scan, and that didn't show anything, which really confused me. So I was told myself that maybe I'd passed the stone and that things would start to get better. I was feeling pain in my lower back where the kidneys would be, so that makes sense. and my flank, which I now know is where rib 11 is, but at this time I didn't even think about my ribs. I started getting really bad gastro symptoms, where if I ate anything, it would just come straight through. I was getting really horrific abdominal pain on the right side, 2 inches from my belly button. Sometimes it was at the same level, sometimes it was a little bit higher. And yeah, I was getting diarrhea. I was going to work on an empty stomach because as soon as I ate, it would just come straight through. And I know a lot of people with SRS have gastro symptoms as well. Maybe it's because ribs are pressing on the bowels. I don't know. I had blood tests because of the pain and because of the diarrhea. They all came back negative. We looked at my pancreas, which was fine. I was tested for bowel cancer in November, and that was fine. And everything was just so confusing because I was getting this back pain, stomach pain, diarrhea. It seemed to be in different parts of my body. In November, it was the 25th of November, myself and my partner went to Edinburgh on holiday, and the day after we got there, things really started to get quite bad. I was obviously walking around and I was getting really horrific pain in my back, my lower back, but not on the side, in the flank where rib 11 is. But I didn't know that at the time. And I was getting the pain in my spine was worse, and I was having to stop. And there was one night when I woke up at 2 a.m. in the worst pain that I've ever had. I nearly went to hospital, but I didn't because I was in Edinburgh. And I think it was the 27th of November, I started to keep a diary of my symptoms because I was just so confused. At this point, I was still waiting for the bowel cancer test to come back, but in my mind, I knew that it couldn't be because of the symptoms elsewhere as well. And then I went back to my doctor and I said, look, I've been getting this pain when I walk in my flank. This is where it is. What's going on? So they said, well, we've tested you for everything. So I said, well, I want a referral to gastroenterology because there is something going on and we need to find out what it is. And so they referred me to gastroenterology. I haven't had that appointment, but I don't need that appointment because I know what this is. And then I went to work. I worked in hospitality. I loved my job, and I would walk for 8 to 12 miles a day on a busy day. Waiter service and bar work and reception stuff, and it was really a very active job. I did an 11-hour shift, and I tried to push through the pain, but it was all over my torso. It was everywhere. And at one point I felt like I was having a heart attack, which was because everything up here was tight. I now know that was costochondritis, which can appear on its own or it can be a symptom of SRS. And a lot of doctors confuse the two, which is quite frustrating, but we'll talk about that in another video. And then I did shorter shifts and I pushed through, but I was in a lot of pain. I had to restrict myself to the bar because I couldn't walk more than say 4 minutes without the pain getting really bad. I did another 10-hour shift and I burst into tears because the pain was so bad, and it was really embarrassing for me, with not being able to do what I should be able to do, but also my colleagues seeing me in that sort of state. And then the walking got so bad. There was one day when it took me 15 minutes to get out of bed. I was really worried, and I had to take time off work because I was in so much pain and I couldn't walk. I didn't go to the doctor. I called the doctor. I'd looked into a few things and I said, look, I think I might have possibly fibromyalgia. Because the doctors I was getting all of these pains, and I was getting nerve pain as well. So the doctor referred me to a rheumatologist, and I started to join fibromyalgia groups on Facebook, and I got books about fibromyalgia. I was put on amitriptyline, which is used for nerve pain and to treat fibromyalgia, but it didn't do anything for me apart from help me sleep. I'm off work. I tried to go back. I thought that if I did shorter shifts and I went back part-time and did 5-hour shifts, 25 hours, that I'd be able to cope. But I went in a month ago. I lasted an hour and a half before I was in tears with the pain. A table asked me for I was on the bar, and then at a table asked me for some mayonnaise and ketchup, and I walked to the other side of the room to get it, and it just got so bad. I couldn't walk. I couldn't cope. I sat down for 45 minutes in tears in the kitchen. And then I came home, and I was posting and looking in the fibromyalgia groups over the next few days, and I talked about my symptoms, and somebody, a lady called Ume Yahya, who lives quite close to me actually, but I didn't know that until a few days ago. She said to me, look, have a look at this video. I think you could possibly have slipping rib syndrome. And she posted a link to a YouTube video from a lady who is quite young. I can't remember her name, but she'd suffered for 14 years, and she's in Norway or Scandinavia. And I looked at her video, and then I started to research slipping rib syndrome, and over the next few weeks I realized that that is what I have. In my head, I knew that I didn't have fibromyalgia. I think there's a lot of people who have been labelled with fibromyalgia and they have something else wrong with them, but the doctors don't know what it is. I know that there's other people with slipping rib syndrome that were diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Some people have suffered for years before they finally got their diagnosis. In a way, I feel kind of lucky because it's been a short amount of time compared to other people for me. But also, it seems to be more debilitating for me than for a lot of other people because it's affecting me physically a lot. There's a lot of stuff I can't do. I think basically I aggravated this so much by pushing myself and forcing myself to do things that I wanted to be able to do, that I used to be able to do, that I have just made things worse. Um, so, yeah, I'm just trying to think what to say next. Yeah, I researched slipping rib syndrome, and I spoke to my doctor a few weeks ago, maybe about 3 weeks ago, and I said, look, have you heard of slipping rib syndrome? And she said, no. And I said, well, I think that's what I've got. And I could tell by the tone in her voice that they were fed up with me. They think I'm crazy because, I've had blood tests, I've had ultrasound, I've had CT scan, I've had fecal tests, like poo tests, and everything has come back negative. And that's what happens with SRS. So she said to me, look, just wait and speak to the rheumatologist. The rheumatologist could be months away. And the more I researched slipping rib syndrome, the more I had this fear that I would go to the rheumatologist and that they wouldn't know what this is either. So 2 weeks ago, I read everything about slipping rib syndrome. I watched every YouTube video. I joined the groups on Facebook, which are amazing. They have been so much help for me. Because this is what I have. And I spent 10 hours a day for a week examining myself and reading medical papers and medical journals from the few doctors in the world that recognize that this is a real condition that can be treated. And the more I read, the more everything just made sense. The flank pain, the pain walking, the gastrointestinal issues, it presenting similarly to kidney stones at first, the excruciating back pain in my spine, the feeling of the ribs going under each other when I sit down, which I've had for years, but I never thought about it. It's not painful, that's just uncomfortable, but I thought that was normal. I didn't question it. Before I knew what I had, and I thought I had fibromyalgia, I was really down for a week, and there was lots of tears because I couldn't do things, and I thought that I was going to have to live like this for the rest of my life, and I was afraid that I would never work again, and rely on other people and be poor, because this has affected me financially hugely. I'm on statutory sick pay, which in the UK is £90 a week. My outgoings are a lot more than that. I've had to apply for PIP and ESA, which is that was horrible for me because I don't want to be disabled. But when I realised that this is what I have and it can be fixed, I have hope. And not being able to do things is a little bit easier because I know that one day I will be able to do them. Things have gotten worse. I have a stick, and at first when I started using this I would only use it in the dark, because it helps to I suppose there's less movement, and it sort of stabilizes things a little bit. My theory is that rib 10 when I walk is pressing on rib 11, and if I continue to walk I get pain that is like a pole going from my back right through to my abdomen. My body wants to hunch over. I don't quite know why that is. And that spine pain has gotten so bad. Now even if I stand for between 5 and 10 minutes, so like even if I try to do the dishes, I get that pain, and it lasts for about 2 hours, and I have to sit down, and that's something that I've really had to get used to, because I used to sit down for like an hour a day. I was a really active person. I'm going to be sat down probably for the next year. I yeah. But I've digressed a little bit. So when I read all these medical papers and everything, and I saw the YouTube videos, and I saw other people's stories in the groups on Facebook, I reached out to a surgeon here in the UK called Joel Dunning, because I knew that if I went, my doctor doesn't even know what slipping rib syndrome is, and I knew that if I went there and showed them my ribs moving, that they just would think I'm crazy. So I found Joel's contact details, and I emailed him, and I sent him the diary of my symptoms and everything, and I just said, look, nobody believes me. I'm convinced that I have this. Help. And I emailed Joel. It was only a week ago. It was on Christmas Eve, and I didn't expect a reply for a few weeks. But he emailed me at 10:30 p.m. on Christmas Eve, and that was the best Christmas present I could have had, because just knowing that somebody wanted to help me and would listen to me, and that there were doctors out there that did know what this is and how to fix it, was just a huge relief for me mentally and emotionally. It's really clear to me that my ribs are moving, but I need to go to London to see Dr. Abbasi, who is a diagnostic specialist in this, for a dynamic ultrasound. Then that will record the ribs moving on each other and on nerves and on everything. And then I can take his report to my GP with the footage, and I can show them the emails to and from Joel, and they can refer me to Joel, who is at Thomas Cook Hospital in Middlesbrough. I'm going to organise the scan this week. I expect that it's probably going to be in February or March, which is a long time away. It's December now. I don't even know what date it is, but it's between Christmas and New Year. And like the COVID and everything. But it's £500, but I'm going to borrow the money from Dad. I do have insurance, so I'll get half of that money back. Obviously, I have to get to London. My mobility is fucked. Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. So it's going to be tough, but I'm really looking forward to going there and seeing Dr. Abbasi, because he has helped so many people to get on the road to surgery and then recovery. I can't wait to have the surgery, because I know that it'll change my life. I'm hoping that I'll have surgery on both sides, and I know that recovery from that is going to be horrific. I expect that I won't be able to even get up on my own for a while. It's going to be nasty, but I can't wait to have that surgery, because it's going to change my life, and I will be able to walk again, and I will be able to work again, and to go on holiday again, and do gardening again, and do everything that I loved that I can't do. And I'll have my independence back, and having that hope, having something to look forward to, is the thing that's keeping me going, because I know that there are so many people out there that have given up. There's people who have taken their own lives because they didn't know what was wrong with them, and they had all these debilitating symptoms. There's people that have suffered with this for 20 years, who have just found out that they have slip and rib syndrome and had surgery and been able to live again. So this is really serious stuff. Because I'm stuck around the house, I'm basically housebound. I wanted to start these videos just to partly to help other people, but partly to help myself. You know, to have something to do and something to focus on. In the meantime, I'm going to be waiting a long time for surgery. I think because of COVID, Omicron has taken hold badly in the UK. And a lot of people are having to wait a long time for surgery, but just having that hope and knowing that it's coming is really going to help me. Sorry, long silence. I'm not a YouTuber. I don't know how to edit videos, or I'm probably going to try and learn how to do that. I'm hugging a pillow at the moment because I find that just helps to keep things in place a little bit. But I'm hoping that, you know, these videos will help somebody, because SRS is massively painful, it's massively debilitating, and the frustrating thing is that a lot of doctors don't know what it is. Doctors aren't taught about this. I think I read in a medical journal that there's been like 100 cases of this documented since 1922, and it's rarely diagnosed. My suspicion is that there are more people have this than we think, but they don't know that they have it, and doctors don't know what to look for. But yeah, we'll talk about doctors another time. My doctor told me that his words were, "There's nothing medically wrong with you. Try mindfulness," and that was so insulting. They're giving me sick notes at the moment, to obviously because I'm off work, and the sick notes just say general aches and pains, which is hugely insulting because I can't walk and they don't seem to care. And I really, it's so frustrating, but I will get the help that I need, and I know that I will, and I will fight for that. I'm completely housebound now. I tried going shopping yesterday, and I know that that's the biggest thing for me. Leaving the house is really bad. I can't even get to the chiropractor or the osteopath now. I can't even afford to go to the chiropractor and the osteopath. But yeah, Morrison's, the supermarket that I go to, is 200 meters away. That's nothing. It took me 20 minutes to get there with the stick. I had to sit down twice. When I got there, obviously the trolley helps, but I can't get much stuff because I can't get a big trolley. I have to get a small trolley because I can't bend to get the stuff out of the big trolley because it hurts too much. I got less food than I needed to because I was walking so slowly that I couldn't go back and get things that I needed because I was in too much pain. And it took all of the energy and the might that I had to not burst into tears in the middle of my local supermarket. One of the hardest things for me in the past month or so has been asking for help, because I am a really independent person, and you know, I was having to ask, when I could work, I was having to ask for help in work with things like lifting things or carrying things, or even going to the other side of the room to make somebody a hot drink. But now things have gotten so bad that I had to ask somebody to take me to the hospital when I had my last scan, and it's a neighbour of mine, and she did, and she's been amazing, and I know that I can ask her for things if I need to, but I still have this mental thing that I need to get over of asking people for help. My partner's mum changed the bed for me because I just can't do it. I can't do any housework, and I've had to get used to, like, I mean, the house isn't a mess. It's not that bad. I mean, I'll show you, but things like if there's a bit of dust on the floor, you know, I used to pick it up, and I used to be a bit OCD with cleanliness and housework, and I can't do that. But I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, so I should probably stop this video soon. But I suppose what I'm trying to say is that it's been really hard to get used to this life that I'm going to have to live for the foreseeable future, and to get used to not being able to do normal, simple things. Like, some days I can't even get up the stairs. It kind of feels like I aged 50 years in 2 weeks. And my life just completely changed when all of this got to the point where it is this debilitating. But there's hope, and I will get better, and there is something at the end of this, and one day you're gonna see me doing a video of me post-surgery, walking and shopping and traveling and doing everything that I loved. I've got pain now. It's not the most horrific pain, but it's probably because I'm sat forward. It's spine pain, which is the worst pain that I get. So I'm gonna stop this video now. I'm sorry it's long. I'm sorry that I've talked so much, but I hope that this helps somebody one day, to know that you're not on your own, that there is help, and that we can do this together. Thank you.